Welcome back, everybody. Silas here. This is the first video I have recorded in 2025. Now, it may not post for a little bit because I've got some content already recorded from last year that I want to get edited and posted first before I start posting stuff from this year. But I've got some big stuff in store for this year. You're going to want to stay tuned. Lots of things are going to happen. But on today's agenda, we're going to crush some cars. It is freezing cold out here. It's about 4 degrees right now, but the crusher started, the loader started. I got my batteries for the impact charged up. I've got a bunch of cars stacked, ready to crush. So I'm going to start pulling aluminum wheels off, start crushing. Oh, and by the way, I'm using this camera a little bit today. This is my real nice camera. I hardly ever use it out here at the junkyard just because normally it's really dusty out here and dust will wreak havoc on a camera like this. But right now, as you can see, it's not very dusty. So I thought, you know what? Today's a perfect day to do this. You don't normally get to see cars get crushed in this fine of detail. I've got the magnetic mount on my little camera too, so I can put it up in the crusher. So we'll get a little bit of both. I'm curious to see what it looks like on camera, but when I crushed this up here, this tire here blew out. And this tire wasn't on camera because it was focused on the Explorer, but I noticed it shot a whole cloud of dust and debris all over the camera, so it might be kind of interesting to see what that looks like. It looks like my lens is pretty filthy now though, so I better get that clean. Can't believe I'm out here with a $4,000 camera filming crushing cars. That's wild. All the time I have people ask, why do I push the doors in on these cars as I crush them? And this is why. This in here completely splattered out because I can't push the doors in right now, and the reason why I can't is because the ground right here in front of the crusher has turned into a skating rink. This is solid ice now. I mean, this is slicker than snot right here. I can't even stand on that, it's so slick. And so when I go to shove the doors in or shove the windows, the pillar in or all that, it just slides. All 4 tires on the loader just sit here and spin, and the loader just goes back and forth. Even getting underneath the bundles to take them out of the crusher, I haven't been able to do for the last few bundles. I've had to bounce it and work my way in. So yeah, that bundle there really splattered. I'll be able to make it work, but man, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this here. It needs to get a little bit warmer, and then this will go ahead and melt. The problem is today it's only like 22 degrees right now, and the sun's coming down, so it's getting warm on the surface, but it's cold, and so it's refreezing. If it'll just go ahead and melt like it started to over here a little bit and get down to the mud, then I'll be able to get traction again. But man, right now I can't get any traction, so I may have to call it quits on crushing for today. Come over here and pick this up real quick. Even the road out here, I have to waddle like a penguin because it's so slick. You can see where cars were sitting. This is where I started at this morning. This was double stacked cars all the way in there. Over there, I had a bunch back there that I grabbed. I've got 2 loads. Well, if I put 1 more car in the crusher, I'll have 2 loads on the ground. So I guess that's what I'll do, is go ahead and try to crush 1 more car to get a second load done and on the ground. I think I have enough cars sitting around to do probably another load and a half that are already ready, except for the wheels. I processed these cars, pulled the converters, drained the fluids, all that good stuff out of them here a week or 2 ago, and just been stacking them up. That way I could make this crushing video. There's a taillight that fell off one of the bundles. There was a few cars on the edge that my dad brought in that he never had time to pull the catalytic converters off of, so I pulled those off this morning. I need to gather those up. So I guess let's go ahead and finish this bundle, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there. So you watch this. I wanna go up here, push on the B-pillar like I always do. Okay, normally I would just push a little bit and it would just crumple right in, but watch the tires. They just spin. And I'm not even touching the gas pedal and they're still just spinning. And I'm not even in first gear, I'm in second gear. That's just how slick it is right now. So we'll just have to do the best that we can and just put the loader up against the doors like that and see what happens, I guess. My tires are spinning already. I have people ask, why does it matter if the doors come out like that? And the reason why it matters is I have to be able to slide these inside the trailers. And if they're too wide, they'll snag on stuff and they just don't fit as good. Now these are all pretty small cars, so this bundle here really won't be an issue. Back in the days when we loaded flatbeds, this would be such an ugly bundle that truck drivers would not enjoy hauling it. I had a lot of drivers would request to come haul cars out of our yard because we had such clean looking bundles, because I always folded the doors in instead of letting them pop out. But we don't really do the flatbed thing anymore, so that's not really an issue. But if I was crushing, you know, mid-size or full-size vehicles and I was letting them pop out like that, getting them in that trailer would be a nightmare. And honestly, in this slick snow and ice, I don't think I could even load those trailers. I think I would just spin my tires trying to shove them in the trailer. So I probably can't load trucks for a week or 2 anyway. Check this out. I have that Cadillac sitting right here, and you can see where the tires were, and they're flat tires obviously, and you can see the print of the cradle and the transmission, the engine. That's pretty cool right there. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But we've got a full 2 loads on the ground back there now, so we will come back not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to take a brief intermission. I've got to go out of town and pick up an antique truck, so we'll do that, and then the next day we'll come back out here and keep on crushing. I kept hearing this loud noise. I'm like, man, what is that noise? But it was a helicopter. I couldn't figure out what the helicopter was, but it was a loud one. And then I saw that jet up in the sky because it's so clear out today. And then I saw the moon up in the sky. We got some bright, crystal clear skies today. Not a cloud in the sky. They are talking a chance of snow tomorrow afternoon, so I'm supposed to be there to pick that truck up at about 11, about an hour and a half drive. It would be about an hour drive, but a lot of the roads are still snowpacked, so I'm gonna drive a little bit slower. I don't know exactly what I'm getting into. It's a 49 Ford grain truck. That's all I know about it. So I guess we'll just check it out in the morning. We'll see you then. I didn't have time to show you guys that truck in detail. The reason why is this right here. I don't know if you can see it on this camera or not, but it is starting to snow again, and I left my impact and my sockets and everything laying out here. So I didn't want somebody to walk by and take it. I didn't want it to get snowed on. They're saying we could get another 3 or 4 inches of snow, and I didn't want to ruin, I don't even know what these impacts cost now, but I didn't want to ruin a $400 or $500 impact because I forgot it yesterday. That truck's definitely cool. We will check that out towards the end of the video probably. While I was there, I also bought a tractor. I bought an old Ford tailgate, and what else did I? Oh, I bought an old Jeep Cherokee that was out in the tree row. The Cherokee's pretty rough, not a whole lot left of it. And then the tractor is a pretty complete tractor. It's an old Farmall, I think. I'm not gonna haul those. I'm gonna send my buddy after those. He can haul both of them at the same time. They also have a tractor in the shop, but I don't know if they're gonna sell it or not. They had to talk about that with a family member. But assuming we don't get too much snow, I'll be back out here in the morning, keep crushing cars. If we do get too much snow, we'll pick up on this video whenever I'm able to. For me, it might be a day, it might be a few days, but for you, it's just gonna be a few seconds. And good morning. We are back out here. It is not the next day now. We ended up getting another 6 inches of snow. We were supposed to just get a dash of snow. So I did not come out here that next day. The day after that, it started raining ice again. That wasn't even in the forecast. And so it melted the snow down a little bit because of the moisture, the rain falling, but then it made everything super slick. So I just didn't even touch this out here. But I'm out here now. There's less snow than there was, but I have a feeling it's gonna be just as slick, if not slicker. But it's supposed to warm up this afternoon to about 35 degrees. So that combined with the sun beating down, it ought to melt it up pretty good. Crusher fire right up, assuming the loader fire's right up. We'll let them get it warmed up, and then we'll start crushing. Kind of a shame on this Suburban here. This thing was super clean, fairly low miles too. I think it was only like 120,000 miles, something like that. So I mean, for one of these, that's pretty low miles, and not bad looking at all when we got it. I've tore it up now, rolling it around. But they drove it down in a ditch and it flooded the entire interior of this car. And oh man, this thing stank so bad when we loaded it from all the mildew and rot inside. It was bad. And once the car gets wet on the inside, unless you just totally gut it, but even then, all your electronic components are going to be bad, and oh man, it's going to cost a fortune to fix this thing. So they decided just to go ahead and junk it. And to add insult to injury, we're going to crush that Chevy together with its Ford companion, or counterpart, not companion. They're going to be companions now. Going to be companions for the rest of their life until they hit the shredder. I don't remember what was wrong with this one. This is one that my dad brought in while I was working at the other yard. Wasn't bad looking, but I'm sure it was an engine or transmission issue. These Fords aren't the greatest. If I had to pick between an Explorer or an Expedition and a Suburban or a Tahoe, I would definitely go with the Chevy. Reason being is I get 10-year-old Ford SUVs and trucks all the time. I never get 10-year-old Chevys. Most of the Chevys I get are like this one here that's I think over 20 years old, and it was still going up until it got wrecked in the water. Every now and then I'll get like a 2005 or 6 model Chevy truck, but still, I mean, that's 20 years old. Whereas Fords, I mean, I get 20-year-old Fords all the time, but I get 10-year-old Fords all the time too. Now when it comes to cars, I get all brands, makes and models of cars that are, you know, 10 years old, stuff like that all the time. But I have no use for a car with a family of 5 going on 6, and you really can't fit in the car, so all I drive is trucks and SUVs. And there we go. Got another load on the ground. Here's the loads I crushed the other day. I got, what do I got now? I got 1, 2, 3 loads on the ground. Yeah, that's what it looks like. We got 3 loads crushed and ready to go. I left this truck back here because once I move these bundles back out, little bits and pieces of plastic and taillights and bumpers and whatnot are going to fall off of them. So this will be a good container just to take all of that stuff and throw it in here. Normally I stack my bundles way out back. You may have saw some in the overhead shots I got. The issue is I don't know when this is all going to thaw out. And when this thaws out, back there where I don't drive all the time is going to be a mud pit. Whereas this area over here, as you guys know, I rocked all of this, packed all of this. This here, not worried about it at all. So that's kind of why I just stacked the bundles in the middle of the road. I'm going to try to get, 10 loads or so on the ground. I have probably 30 loads out back, but I want to get 10 more loads on the ground, and that way I can just hopefully get 2 trucks a day and just load back to back. I was just doing a quick count, and I've got, I think, 3 vehicles there, 1 vehicle there, I think 4 more over there, and then over here, I haven't really checked to see what all's over here and what's ready to go. I've got this Dakota. There's that blue Saturn. There's 1 more of those grain silos that's all watered up and crushed halfway. I got to finish crushing it in the bundle, and then I have 1 bundle already done over there. Then I've got this old square body here, and then I've got this old grain drill. So yeah, we'll get this stuff all crushed up this afternoon. I'm going to go get lunch now, but that'll be enough to put over another load on the ground. Probably could have already had all of it crushed if I hadn't been recording, but I know you guys have been wanting a crushing video for a while, so that's why I'm making you a pure crushing video. After I get this 4th load crushed, I'll probably shut the camera off for a while and just focus on crushing cars, because it doesn't take me that long to set up camera shots and angles and things like that, but it does take a little bit of time and effort. Almost forgot my camera over here. I need to grab that. I'm not going to leave that out here while I'm at lunch. Hopefully I'm getting some good shots of this thing. I don't know. I saw a piece of a taillight fly out and smack it earlier. That might look cool on camera, but I just want to make sure it didn't actually hurt my lens. This is like a $1,300 lens on this thing. But yeah, in the time that I've spent setting up camera angles and recording and stuff like that, I probably could have crushed another load and a half of cars or so. So once I get this last load crushed, we'll crush that square body and that grain drill, and I think those will be pretty interesting, that other metal building. Interesting stuff coming up this afternoon. Stay tuned. We'll be back here in just a minute. Man, it's almost a shame to shred nice tires like these. These are probably 85-90% tread or better. I list tires like this for 25 bucks a piece, and people offer me 5 and 10 bucks a piece for them, and it's just not worth my time at that point. Man, these things are on there. There we go, now it's wiggling. A little bit easier with 2 hands, but I want to show you guys how I have to do this every time. Well, normally it's not this hard. I chose a really bad example. There it went, okay. So I just do that with them, and then I pop them off, let them hit the ground. And you guys have seen me with the loader. I can hit them with the loader and kind of flop them over, but everything's so slick right now, I'm having a hard time with that. So I've started just grabbing them by hand and roll them that way. That way I can just scoop underneath them with the loader and then throw them in the dumpster. I've had a lot of people ask why I don't dismount these and sell the wheels for more money, and because it's just labor intensive. I don't have a tire machine out here, so I have to load these on the truck or the trailer, then I have to take them to the other yard, then I have to take them all the way into the building, and then I've got to get out all the tools and I got to dismount them, and then I have too many bare tires and I can't shove that many in cars, and so then I have to start paying the landfill to take them, and so then I've got a bunch of labor into them, a bunch of time that's worth money, and then I've got the disposal fee and all that to make a little bit extra money. And if you hire somebody else to do it, then you've got to worry about them breaking your tire machine because they don't know what they're doing, and by the time you pay them and you do this and do that, in the long run, you wind up making just about the same money just to take them and chuck them in the dumpster. If we had a tire machine here at this location, then it would probably be worth the time to dismount them, but I don't even have electricity here, so not going to happen. There have been several times in the past where we worked out deals with people to where they'll come pick up all of our wheels and tires, and the junk tires like this they bring back to us, and then any tires like those that they can sell, they keep and sell, and they do the labor for the good tires. But the problem is it always starts out really good, and they get tires like this and they're all happy, but then they'll get a batch of tires where they'll get 100 wheels and tires, and only 5 or 6 of the tires will be any good, and so then they feel like we're getting to them, even though they made hundreds or thousands of dollars on previous batches. Now all of a sudden they only make $100 for all their time, and they feel like we're ripping them off, and so they slip out a few sets of wheels and hope we don't notice. And just over time it turns into them stealing a bunch of wheels from us. And the last time we did it, we ended up losing probably about 50 sets of wheels. The last batch of wheels the guy came and got, we never got any of the wheels back. He took them all and sold them for scrap. Come to find out, he was hooked on pills, and yeah, well, you know the rest of that story. Well, since we were talking about aluminum wheels, I figured, well, we'll talk about something else I get a lot of questions about. Is this wheel right here is going to stay on this vehicle and go right in the crusher. The reason why is because that lug nut and that lug nut there, the chrome caps are all swollen and stripped out where somebody put the wrong size of lug wrench on them, and so I can't get my socket on them. I can go up 1 millimeter and I might be able to get them off, but then that one over there I was able to get my socket on, but it's cross-threaded and it won't budge. And so people are always like, well, why don't you just bust them off with the forks? If there's only one lug nut, sometimes two lug nuts if they're side by side, like if it was just those two and that one there came off, I might be able to do something with it. But with a free pattern like this all the way around, busting that wheel off of there would not be easy. Now I could do it with the excavator, but I'd have to start the excavator, let it run for a while, and not worth it anymore. I could possibly bust this off with the loader, but I'm going to have to get very, very violent, and a set of forks for the loader are about $10,000. And I really don't want to do things that are not what they're designed to do. They're designed to crush cars, not rip off wheels. And I have seen sets of forks break by doing stuff like that. I've never done it, but I've seen other people do it. And so I'm not going to cost the business $10,000 to make a few extra bucks on one aluminum wheel. And so that's why sometimes you will see me leave cars with aluminum wheels on them in the crusher. It's not that I just don't care about the wheels or that I'm lazy or anything like that. It's just that it's a boatload of work to get those off of there, and it's really not that much money to let one or two aluminum wheels go here and there. If we were scrapping, you know, 1 or 2 cars a week, you bet I would never leave any aluminum wheels on. You know, in times past, I would get the torch out and cut the lug nuts off before I left them on the car. But times are different now. We go through a lot of cars, and if I invested that much time worrying about aluminum wheels, we would lose money overall. In fact, in the past, I used to save every alternator. I'd save the starters if I could get them off fairly easy. I mean, I'd save all sorts of stuff off of almost every single car I got. You know, there came a point where we had to say, you know what? Are we making more money overall by doing this, or are we making less money overall? Because it's not about nickel and diamond each and every little thing, it's about overall profit. Okay, what do I want to do next? I was gonna do this car, but you know what? Actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead, back up, and I'm gonna grab this square body, and we're gonna go ahead and crush it. I think I'm gonna make the thumbnail out of the square body. There's nothing left on this thing. The front axle might sell eventually, but man, half-ton stuff just doesn't sell that good. Let's see if we can get it in there. That rear end, I forgot, the spring's broken on one side, so it's hanging down, but I think we can squeeze and make it fit. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. Bingo. Okay, we'll set that down. I'll get out, make a thumbnail real quick, and then we'll get a video crushing it. I'll probably grab the other camera for that. I don't buy it if it's still alive. Reach over there and grab him. That's big enough to eat. Jump in that truck right there, eat some wires. He don't want to get off of there. He's thought about it several times, but he don't want to touch the snow.
Probably been living there for a while.
Probably, he's good and fat. There it goes. There it went. We had a rat-tastrophe. Not a catastrophe, a rat-tastrophe. That was a big, fat rat. This car is packed clear full. They even stuffed junk down inside the doors. They didn't leave any room at all. I'm kind of scared to crush it because these doors are going to pop open. It's going to dump junk everywhere. I honestly don't really like it when they're this full of stuff. But, oh well. I'll put like a big car or something like that in the crusher first, and I'll set this on top of it. That way if the door does come open a little bit, the junk will fall down on the car below it. This is an old, what is this, a Celica, or what is this? Yeah, an old Celica. Don't see these too often anymore. Be interesting to see how flat it crushes, because that thing is packed clear full. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. This square body crushed pretty flat, and then that metal building crushed right down into it. You saw that door flop open. That's what happens when I don't hold them in, but I wanted to get a good shot of just it crushing by itself. I didn't want the loader in the way. And the direction that it's facing, it'll go ahead and slide right into the dumpster. It won't snag on anything or cause any issues, so not really that big of a deal. Whew, this ground out here is getting slicker and slicker. It's starting to get to the point like it was last time where I'm just sliding in circles trying to do anything. Plus, this is actually a fairly heavy bundle. I don't know why it's so heavy. No engine or transmission in that truck. I am getting a little bit low on fuel, so that might be part of it. The snow's actually starting to melt off a little bit now, but the problem is it's 33 degrees, and that's the high. It's starting to cool down, honestly, I think a little bit. Tomorrow is only supposed to get up to 25 as the high, and then finally later in the week, I think it's supposed to get up into like the 36, 38 range. He said they can't double up on trucks, but they can get me one truck back and forth all day Thursday, so I should be able to get 3 loads out then. That is load number 4 right there, and I have some more cars ready to go, so I guess we'll start working on load number 5. See this? Whew, man, again, this stuff falling scares me every time. But anyway, as you can see, I'm having issues because I can't push the B-pillars in that direction, and so it splatters these things out this way. I hit them. I even tried getting a running start on that one, and I'd hit it, and instantly I would stop, and my wheels would just start spinning, all 4 of them. And that's almost too much, so I think what I'm going to do on that is just kind of flip it on its side real quick, push it back together a little bit, roll it down, and then we'll put that car on top of it. Then after that, I'll probably grab that grain drill, crush it up on top, and then we'll probably call it quits for the day, just because I can't crush on this stuff. This is just too slick. You can see into the loader, just solid ice. And everywhere I walk, I have to be super careful and walk like a penguin because I just slide. Don't normally do this, but it's not normally an issue. I could crush this thing all the way on its side, but that would just be way overkill. Boom, right there. Much, much better. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is take this back out, flip it around, and put it facing the other direction, just so those doors don't snag as I slide it in the dumpster. Because sliding around on this ice out here, I'm going to need all the cooperation I can get. And there we go. Got a bunch of loads crushed and ready. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 roughly. Not bad, not bad for 2 days of crushing, and it really wasn't even 2 full days. I spent probably 2 hours on the phone today talking to people. Not because I wanted to, but because they wanted to, I guess. I had a bunch of subscribers call me, and I mean, I don't mind talking to people, but I had a bunch call me today, and I don't even know how they all got my number. The number on the crusher isn't my phone number, so when you call that number, you're not even reaching me. Like I say, I normally don't mind, but I had a bunch call today, so I spent a lot of time with them. The company we sell to called, and I spent some time talking to them. I guess prices are going up, effective immediately. So that was some good news. I didn't really have any bad news on the phone today. It was just a lot of news. And then my dad came out for a while, so I was busy talking to him. And then it was my uncle that hauled that car out, and so I spent a little bit of time talking to him. So really, I probably only spent probably about 4.5 hours actually crushing cars today and pulling wheels and that sort of stuff. Plus I got my time setting up cameras, so I don't know. I'm just doing math out loud right now. I probably have about 8 or 9 hours of actual work involved in crushing 4.5 loads of cars. And I have enough stuff like this thing right here, this burnt thing. I mean, that's ready to go. These are both ready to go here, and I took everything else that's ready to go and set it over there. So I have enough to probably go ahead and finish that 5th load sitting on the ground. This hole right here, whew, man, you talk about bad. It's frozen all the way around it, and there's a thick layer of ice and snow. You can't really tell, it looks like dirt, but this is actually ice and snow, probably about 2 or 3 inches thick. But this spot here thawed out, and so when I hit this in the loader, it just straight down. It's pretty wild. I didn't see it earlier. I was just driving along, and I hit that, about threw me out of the chair. Yeah, we'll get those crushed. I got a bunch of junk down here on the ground, a little bit of aluminum in here, but mostly just scrap. But a lot of this is down in the mud, and then it freezes in place, so I don't know, I may not be able to clean this pile up until spring, but I do want to clean it up a little bit at least, and then I want to come in here and go ahead and start working on this pile. There's all these cars back here. This, I'm just going to take my angle grinder and cut out around the Carl's furniture. I might try to go ahead and save the phone number in Hutchinson, Kansas as well, but I don't know, we'll see how it works. Be a good piece to sell to somebody. I'll have to trace it out, get me a straight edge or something so I can cut at least somewhat straight lines, but that'll all be at a future time. A little bit of farm equipment back here I can crush, and we got a bunch of cars over here I can get crushed. I just got to pull a few little things off of each and every one of these. A couple of them have manifold converters, so I can't get the excavator out now. I kind of buried it, so I'll have to wait till I ship some loads in. That thing there, one of these days when I have the excavator out, I'm going to set it next to the aluminum box and rip it apart, but I'm going to ship that in by itself, or mainly just that way it's good quality aluminum. I'll get a better price because that's probably at 95% clean once I rip the steel frame out of the center. Lots and lots of stuff to get done, but we're not going to do any of that today. I am done for the day. The sun is starting to go down, and the back of my ankles hurt because these boots are not really comfortable to walk around in. I've been wearing them almost every day now, and so they're starting to wear the back of my ankles out. They're not really made for doing this. They're made to wear, you know, one day and that's it, not wear them every single day. Hopefully I got some good footage with this thing. I haven't really checked it to see how it looks, but I think it'll look okay, something to work with. A little bit more work to do the editing on this here because I have to color grade everything, whereas when I'm filming with this camera here, I just go with whatever it gives me. Busy, busy, busy. Got these set over here, ready to go for next time. That's a pretty good looking view right there, with the grain elevators and the junk cars and the sun setting behind the elevator over there. He's talked about tearing that one down. If he did, I'd have another 20 minutes of daylight every day. Oh, I almost forgot. I found this catalytic converter laying over in the snow. My dad pulled it off before all the snow came in, and it got buried. I didn't know it was out here. So I saw it earlier, so I grabbed it, brought it over here. Ran my battery dead, so I couldn't cut it, but luckily it pinched off pretty easy. I was going to show you guys that Ford dump truck, but I don't know when I'm going to get back over there now. I guess what I'll do is if I do go over there tomorrow and go check it out, I'll walk back there and I'll put that into this video right here. But if you're watching this now and you didn't see that truck, that means I didn't go out there. And there it is. Pretty cool truck. If you're interested in it, my email is in the description below. And unless the truck is sold, if the truck is sold by the time this comes out, I will put sold on the screen. But with that, I am going to head out. I hope you enjoyed this crushing video. As always, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there, find yourself an adventure. And we'll see you on the next one.